Hey, what's up everyone? Tedrick85 here, and today I'm gonna do this another video of my Fun with FIFA 10 segment. And for this one, I'm gonna be doing a Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Blackburn Rovers, and I'm gonna be playing as the Wolves because I consider them my second favorite team. You know, there's a lot of other teams like Sheffield Wednesday and Hull City and even like Leeds United and stuff that I like a lot, but I wanted to make a video where I play as the Wolves too, and as you can see here, I'm playing against Blackburn Rovers. Now, if I'm not mistaken, as you can see, both these teams used to play in the Barclays Premier League, but if I'm not mistaken, both these teams got relegated in the same year. As you see, Blackburn here tend to play with attacking formation, learn to attack on the break with a counter-attack, and possess a strong pressing defense. And as you see here, I'm just checking my lineups here. Like Newcastle versus Southampton, Wolves versus Blackburn is gonna be a 4-4-2 versus a 4-4-2. And you also get to see some of the players for Blackburn, like Yakubu is one of the strikers, and as you can see here, David Dunn is the left center midfielder. So, but yeah, the most recent stint that the Wolves had in the Premier League, they lasted for 3 years before they got relegated. And while they got relegated, they suffered a double relegation and got down to League One. As you can see here, I based the squad pretty much what it was like whenever they were in the Premier League. I think the only one that's still on the team is Dave Edwards, and as you see, same thing with Blackburn. I got both the Olsen twins and everything else in that, so. And I thought it'd be a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek to play this game at Old Trafford, because I know when the Wolves are in the Premier League, it seems like every time that they're in it, they seem to get a scalp against Manchester United, so I thought it'd be a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing to play this at Old Trafford. As you can see there, I chucked that shot a little bit.
Intelligent header.
Now, like Newcastle, Wolves have won a total of 4 top-flight titles, which the Wolves have won more recently than Newcastle has. But as you see there, another terrible miss. Kevin Doyle didn't have too much luck here at the beginning of this game, but
Fletcher.
As a matter of fact, last year, Wolves got promoted by being the League One champs, and they very nearly secured a spot in the championship promotion playoffs last year, but only missed out due to goal differential. And as you can see there, Dave Edwards finally scored for Wolves, which I think it's kind of neat in a way because in a real-life game between these two, which, by the way, this is probably going to be one of the few times we'll actually play the game after that the real game is actually played. But here in the real game, Wolves ended up beating Blackburn 2-1. Dave Edwards as well as Benika Phobe ended up scoring for Wolves, so pretty good start for them. And if they're as good as what I think they should be pushing towards promotion this year, so. As you see there, Stephen Fletcher scored right there, which right now he plays for Sunderland, if I'm not mistaken. I think he still is playing for Sunderland, but pretty good player for them. I hate to admit that since I'm not really a Sunderland fan, though. That shouldn't be much of a surprise since I'm a Newcastle fan, but yeah, he's a pretty good player. As you see there, my passing here is real dodgy. See Matt Jarvis there, plays for West Ham United. Kevin Doyle, I want to say he plays for Colorado Rapids in Major League Soccer, but I'm not positive on that.
Didn't really trust his weaker foot and it showed.
Pretty good effort there by Fletcher. As you can see there, he's wearing the captain's armband, pretty much like Mitrovic did in my last video. Well, I got real lucky not to give up a goal there. There was some pretty shoddy defense right there. And see, Basong. Last I checked, he plays for Norwich City. I think he still does, but I'm not positive on that.
He's got right in there. Goal!
Again, Fletcher with a nice shot there. Marcus Hanneman is the Wolves goalie. He is a U.S. international. Didn't get a whole lot of caps with him, but he got a handful of games with the national team.
Very quick to cut the ball out. Fletcher.
But yeah, I would love to see the Wolves get promoted this year. I know Blackburn was in the promotion picture. As a matter of fact, the last 2 seasons they've been in the promotion picture, but they just haven't gotten that extra hurdle in order to find themselves in a playoff position or automatic promotion position. But
He can certainly run with the ball, can't he?
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this Wolves team can do in the championship, and I'll certainly be rooting for them. And I've always liked the uniforms too. I like that old gold color that they wear along with the black. I find that a pretty decent color scheme.
Nobody back minding the shot.
Blackburn for this season, they went back to playing with this shade of blue and then the white. I know the past 2 seasons they played with the lighter blue and then the white, which is non-traditional for them. But as you can see, Kevin Doyle with the awesome shot there. But
They've been very
but yeah, as far as Blackburn, you know, they are still the only defending Premier League champion to ever get relegated. As a matter of fact, they got relegated twice. I know in the late 90s and then just a couple years ago they ended up getting relegated. But Blackburn's an oddball team. They did manage to win a Premier League title, and that was back when they had Craig Sutton and Alan Shearer having that awesome partnership back in 1995 whenever they were able to win the title and pip Manchester United to it.
When they do, they really have to take the golden opportunity.
And speaking of Marcus Hanneman, Brad Friedel used to play for Blackburn as the goalkeeper, right? Which he plays for Tottenham right now, but needless to say, for those of you that follow American soccer, Brad Friedel is much more prominent with the national team than what Marcus Hanneman is. As a matter of fact, Brad Friedel is considered one of the greatest goalkeepers that America's ever produced. As you see there, Doyle and Fletcher making a pretty awesome partnership right there. That's a pretty slick pass there that he was able to make. Pretty much like Mitrovic did to Aarons in my last video. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Blackburn does in the championship too. I know that they spent quite a long time in the Premier League in their last spell. They spent at least 9 or 10 seasons in there before they got relegated. And but yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was Blackburn, Wolves, and Wigan that got relegated together about 3 or 4 seasons ago. You see, if Jarvis would have got that goal, I would have been amazed. Jarvis isn't exactly what you call a goal scorer, but he is good on the wings. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why West Ham ended up buying him from Wolves whenever they got relegated. But even saying that, you know, they had an impressive team like this whenever they were in the Premier League, but they got quite a good squad right now. You know, there's a bunch of upcoming players like Benny Kafobe, and of course there's, well, they did have Bakary Sako, but he ended up getting sold, and they still got Ebanks Mitchell, I think what his name is. They got a youngster, Connor Cody, they have Rajiv Van La Parra, which is a pretty good player, and that'll be pretty interesting to see what they do. I know I already said that, but I'm looking forward to it. And much like the last video, Wolves are leading 7-0, much like Newcastle was against Southampton. And see, here's some of the stats right here, which I ended up getting 2 assists and then 92% passing percentage. That's pretty good. Not really giving him a whole lot of possession. I nearly got 70% of the possession.
I'm sure the two managers have had very different things to say to their players.
Which this game that I'm playing, in terms of how I play, in that usually when you see a game in real life that one team's dominating possession over the other, it's typically low scoring, but I like to buck that trend on here. I like scoring a whole bunch of goals. Which right here I got off to another quick start. Of course, Fletcher scoring his 5th goal of the game. Pretty much this game's, or should I say this match's version of what Jose Perez was with Newcastle in the last game that I played. Now, even though that the league championship is obviously not a top-flight division, I am going to try to have at least a handful of championship games in this Fun with FIFA 10 segment too, because I don't know if people realize this, or I don't know, maybe some people already know that, but the league championship actually has a higher attendance than what the German Bundesliga has, even though the German Bundesliga is considered the 3rd most prestigious league in Europe. So that's quite impressive, and if you consider what's all at stake whenever the 24 teams play in the league championship, and that is promotion to the Premier League, it does make sense why it's so popular, because people want to see exactly what kind of teams are capable of winning that promotion to the higher divisions. So, as you can see, the one Olsen twin got replaced with Kalinic, and Nikolai Kalinic, I believe his name is, and he doesn't play with Blackburn anymore. I can't think of what team he plays for now, but he's a pretty good striker. If I'm not mistaken, he's a Serbian striker, pretty much like Nikita Jelavic is for Hull City, which I forgot to mention them. They're another one of my favorite teams. I like them. There's another orange team like Wolves, but I'll be having a game on here where I play at least one game with Hull. But and by the way, FIFA, or EA, I should say, that was not offsides. Once again, the offsides is a bit dodgy in this match. I wonder if the European and the Japanese versions have this kind of issue when it comes to the offsides, because I have the North American version, and the offsides will seem to be abused a little bit on here. Like, it's almost like they don't know how it works. And for those of you that don't know what offsides is, it's whenever the attacking player, if there's not at least one defender between him and the goalkeeper, then that's offside. Which, if you saw in my last match, they showed a yellow bird showing whether or not a player is offside, so...
His opponent wanted the ball more than he did. Kevin Doyle.
Getting close to the final quarter of this match here.
Look at this, they've picked him up, he's in on goal. Looking to move forward.
I know, I kept on fighting towards this 10th goal here because I really wanted, like... It's nice to keep the clean sheet, but I always like to score at least 10 goals in this game, which... That was good defense right there by Blackburn, but yeah, as you can see here, even though I got a substantial lead as it is, I like scoring a whole bunch of goals, you know. I just like to make it exciting on myself, and I want to challenge myself to see exactly just how many goals I can score against my opponent. Now, needless to say, Blackburn's not nearly as good as Southampton, but not too much of a cupcake team either, which you can see my defense wasn't great either. I almost conceded a goal there, but
Clean through on goal.
See Doyle trying to score there, which I really should have made at least one substitution, because I don't know if you noticed a minute or two ago, but whenever I was having Jarvis go down the wing on the bottom right of the screen, he was getting kind of tired, so that's definitely would have been a good place to do substitution. Which I will say that one of these games here I will end up making a substitution. It's just I don't know why I didn't here. I should have made at least one. And like with Newcastle, most of my players had good stamina on there, but on here I should have made at least one, maybe two changes. Possibly could have subbed in Jarvis for another winger, and I possibly could have subbed either Fletcher or Doyle off and put a fresh attacker like Sylvana Banks Blake or someone like that in there, but I ended up not doing that. As you can see, my one player is already fatigued there. And as you can see here, Edgar Johnson is pretty much wasting time here back there. I was going for another clean sheet, which it should be any. Yep, there we go. But yeah, not only did I score 10 goals for the second consecutive match, I ended up keeping a clean sheet, which I know a whole bunch of practice ones that I had before I started recording this segment. I had a hard time doing clean sheets, so. And I was tickled pink to have one in the last game, but having another one here, that's pretty awesome for me, so. So 78% shot accuracy. My possession percentage did go down a little bit, but usually does in the second half. You see the summary there. There's only one substitution, and that's for Blackburn. Has all the goals that I scored. Pretty much the same thing at the end of my last video. It's pretty cool to see. Like Kevin Doyle is responsible for 4 out of the 5 assists. Fletcher getting the others. So it goes to show what kind of potent partnership they have up front. And but yeah, the Wolves is definitely one of those teams I really enjoy playing as. I know they were a bunch of fun to play in the Premier League, even though they were pretty much at the bottom of the table the whole time they were in it. But I really liked I really liked watching them, and hopefully they'll get another shot at Premier League because I think they're a pretty good team. I like how they're running that, and I like seeing them bounce back from double relegation and that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this video as I'm saving here, so thank you guys so much for watching this, and I will see you guys again next time.